If you're looking to clip images on your website to certain shapes, for example hexagons or in a circle, thankfully there's a third-party website that will allow you to do that very quickly. But first of all, we need to prepare our Squarespace web page to make sure that when we put in the custom code, it should hopefully work first time. First up, I've added an image to this page, but we can see it's in portrait format at the moment. So my first step is to go to Edit, select the image I've recently added, and press Edit again. And from here, we're going to go to Image Editor. Once the editor's loaded, we then move up to the top right-hand corner and we can see the crop icon as shown here. And our next step is we need to make sure that this image is square. So if we were to put it in a circle, it doesn't put it as an oval, or a hexagon wouldn't be out of shape. So we go to 1 to 1, which is perfectly square, and then we can move the viewpoint around to make sure that we've got the section of the image that we want. Bear in mind, if this was clipped to a circle, you would lose information in each of the corners, or lose details, should I say, in each of the corners. That's not a problem here, but it could be with other photos, so always keep that in mind as well. We can now press save and save again. And it's just going to process that. It's taking a little bit longer than usual, but there we go. And we can click apply. At this point, I'm going to save the page and we've got our perfectly square photo. My next step is to go to Clippy, which is a CSS clip path maker. If you type in a Google search for Clippy CSS clip path maker, find the website and then bookmark this, you may find it very useful in future. I will also copy and paste that website address into the description for you. By default, it's got a square photo in there, so that helps us. We can change the demo size if we want, but that's only mainly for preview. So if you know roughly that your photo is going to be larger than that, you could change that to 500 by 500. But we know it's perfectly square because that's what we've just done in the editor. My next step then is I can choose via these options here, starting off with a circle or ellipse. I can choose the shape that I want. I can even add in custom dimensions, but we won't go into too much detail today. There's an option for a close or a cross option, even an image in a frame with a cutout in the center. Some really nifty options here that we can kind of play around with and add into our pages. I'm going to choose a hexagon in this case. So we've got that almost the cube, but without the lines in the front. And I'm going to choose that as my option. It then automatically generates your code below. So I know that those dimensions are correct. I can now copy that code and then bring it back into Squarespace. I now go back to Home in Squarespace and go to Design, Custom CSS, and I'll create a bit of space for it as well. So I can paste in the custom code. The only thing is I don't have a class to identify it with. I'm not narrowing it down to any image in particular. I could make all the images with a hexagon shape, but that's not going to work very well. So what I'm going to do now is go to the block identifier, which is a third-party Squarespace Google Chrome extension. Very, very handy tool. And when you click on that, it gives you all of the unique IDs for all of the blocks that we've added into the Squarespace editor. So I can now select a title. It automatically copies it to clipboard as I've illustrated in the top right hand corner, and now I can paste it in. So what we're doing now is we're identifying the block and the image. What I need to do finally is to add the curly brackets so we know that it's identified properly. And there we go. We now have our image, which is clipped to a perfect hexagon. One thing I would recommend is that you add a title in above that section, so, or a comment, just to make sure we can identify it if we need to make any changes in the future. If you wanted then to add in multiple blocks, if we had another image block below, what we can do is put a comma, put the new block ID, which we'd again copy and paste it from the website, and then put img, short for image, which means then if we add a comma in between each one, we don't have to duplicate all of this code every time we want to get this effect across. And that's it.